Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. I'm wishing you all a wonderful Wednesday, and I do apologize for the slightly later daily market update than usual. Usually, we try and release one of these updates every single day at 1 p.m. UK time or around that time to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader market. So if you are new to the channel, do consider becoming a subscriber, but I'm a little bit late today. I've had a couple of meetings and other things, but we will try and make up for it. And we have a jam-packed daily market update to be delivering. We're going to be starting things off with a clip from Janet Yellen, who was in front of Congress yesterday, talking about stable coins, talking about non-crypto asset securities, and how Congress now need to legislate to get this gray area surrounding these crypto assets, or whatever they want to call them, regulated, or some kind of a framework put in. And this was always going to be the case. You know, cryptocurrencies, blockchain is a revolution. It is going to fundamentally change the world that we live in, not just from a financial standpoint, from an identity standpoint, from of course, monetary standpoint, and everything in between, supply chain, you name it. And then what we're going to do to highlight that is go and show you a clip of Larry Fink talking about the transformative nature of blockchain technology and how it's going to revolutionize the traditional financial markets. We will be looking at a clip or a tweet from Chainlink that highlights a Bain & Company report talking about ineffective markets and how the transformation of tokenization can really make them better. And it's coming. And I know people get a little bit frustrated in the crypto space because things don't just happen overnight, but this is the game of investing. A lot of the time investors are just waiting for things to play out. And that's exactly where we are. You know, we think we've got the macro picture right. We think we've got the technical picture right. And it all leads us to believe that we are looking at a great year, potentially going into 2025. And then we're going to come over to the charts and we will be looking at Bitcoin, where it's at, where the dollar's at, which is very important. That right shoulder being in is kind of somewhat becoming more and more likely for Bitcoin, certainly Bitcoin against other markets. A large part of that's going to center around the dollar. So a lot to cover as always, but let's start things off, as I had previously outlined, with a clip of Janet Yellen in front of Congress talking about the crypto space. And it's very revealing what she says. And ultimately, she's telling us what's to come. And you've got to think you're in an asset class before it's even been regulated and allowed to really become exactly that. So let's dive into that.
Council is focused on digital assets and related risks, such as from runs on crypto asset platforms and stablecoins, potential vulnerabilities from crypto asset price volatility, and the proliferation of platforms acting outside of or out of compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Applicable rules and regulations should be enforced, and Congress should pass legislation to provide for the regulation of stablecoins and of the spot market for crypto assets that are not securities. We look forward to continuing to engage with Congress on this. With this overview, I look forward to taking your question.
Extremely interesting. She's calling now for Congress to get involved and actually legislate to have a proper regulatory framework around stablecoins and, of course, spot non-crypto securities. And we're still trying to define what a non-crypto security is. Bitcoin, we know, has got through the mesh. Ethereum, very likely. And then we will see, I believe, many of the other altcoins actually end up with ETFs and kind of get past. And you've got to think you're positioning at a time where that's still to come. Let's now, because I always think it's important to highlight just how much of a transformation this technology is going to bring to the world, play a clip of Larry Fink talking about this. We'll show you the report from Bain & Company that Chainlink posted. We'll look at some ETF flows. It's net positive at this point. The grayscale kind of hoard is somewhat dwindling. And then we'll look at Bitcoin, where it's at. Broader time frame, shorter time frame, look at it across a number of different assets, look at the dollar, and then we'll wrap the video up, guys. So let's dive into clip number 2.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we could customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own share.
Extremely revealing and interesting, certainly when that's coming from the largest hedge fund manager in the world. Let's now dive over to Chainlink's recent tweet where they're actually talking a little bit more about this. You guys will know that I've been a long-term investor in Chainlink and didn't really get back into it since 2023. And actually for me and my Patreons, Chainlink gave us, at the end of last year, 200%. It's obviously up more than that now. And we had many altcoins that did that. And if you want to get on board with that, do consider becoming a Patreon. I do think the fee is well warranted in regards to the information that you get. This is from Chainlink as followed. Inefficient, illiquid markets with easy to authenticate assets like private equity, private debt, and private real estate probably have the most to gain from tokenization, states an article from Bain & Company. Understanding how these fund classes pool of AUM and relative manual and costly processes make them especially studied or suited to the realizing the benefits of blockchain technology. And this, of course, is what they are posting. We'll move this over a little bit. Tokenization will most benefit private capital markets. And you can see where they are and just the colossal inefficiency that you have that is essentially looking to be revolutionary. We're talking hundreds of trillions here, potentially into the quadrillions when you're talking about derivatives. Guys, do not lose and get boarded out of what's happening here. Stay focused, stick to the plan, and I think you'll do just fine. We're now seeing an easing. Grayscale are still dumping, but we're seeing an easing of this. Good and bad news is here, they are still dumping. That's bad news. Good news is they will eventually run out, and we are seeing positive flows across the board. Also, CoinShares report on Monday was a rather good one. I haven't shared that with you yet. Let's dive over to the charts to kind of somewhat wrap the videos up. You guys know that this is the plan that is still in play for us. And I think that right shoulder for Bitcoin will likely happen at around a time when the Bitcoin dominance chart is rolling. So we've derived our narrative on Bitcoin, not just from Bitcoin and its own technical merit, from the macro situation, from other markets, so on and so forth. So we weren't just looking at this right shoulder for Bitcoin against the dollar. We were looking at it for Bitcoin against the likes of the SPY and the NASDAQ and, of course, gold. And this was giving us some confidence or degree of confidence that we were going to have a shallower right shoulder. It does look to be playing out, and ultimately this could predict $150,000 Bitcoin or thereabouts. We have a broader thesis on the dollar, which I'm sure you're well aware of. We don't see really anybody talking about this and the fact that we think the dollar is coming down to the lower band, all supported by rates where they currently are, just to show you that very quickly. And then we're going to be looking at Bitcoin dominance because I think this right shoulder is going to coincide with Bitcoin dominance coming down. If you're not already a subscriber to this channel, guys, what are you doing at this point? You know, we get great results in regards to the markets and we try and share them with you on a daily basis and our thoughts. So we do think the dollar is going to roll. The dollar is in, you know, we had this inverse head and shoulders here. Bitcoin was doing a similar thing. And you can see you ran just shy of the target. I'd probably have to redraw this again and maybe play around with the neckline. I could probably make it fit, but that's not very good of me to be saying that. We'll see. This could be a deviation. We ultimately think the dollar is in a broader downtrend. That's going to align with Bitcoin going up. We'll see what happens, though. Bitcoin on the daily time frame had a very similar thing take place. We'll drop right the way down to the 2 hourly. I don't think it's useful for investors to pay attention to the 2 hourly unless they want to know what's happening on the short-term time frame, but you shouldn't be focused on that. You should be focused on the long-term horizon, and you'll do way better than all these people that claim they can trade, yet they will never, ever show you a P&L. 99% of retail shouldn't be trading. But we're not going to go on that rant. So this could fix itself and square up, essentially. And this still has, what if this is an inverse head and shoulders, a target to around about 45k. That's going to close the gap of the right shoulder. And I think this is going to coincide with our thinking, let's get up to the 3 daily here, of Bitcoin dominance. Where is that sucker? There he is. We think this is now a broken down uptrend for dominance. This is going to come down. Remember, dominance goes down in a bull market, up in a bear. Dominance going down doesn't mean Bitcoin's not going to be doing well. It just means altcoins are going to be outperforming. And we think you're potentially on that stage. We want to see this roll. You get the rolling of this. That's going to sort of bring the right shoulder up to the neckline. We take that with volume. We see that dollar weakness. It's all systems go, in my opinion. And of course, stock market. We were expecting a rest. Look at where it ran into, our target from 2023. We'll see what happens. This might want to take a bit more of a rest, maybe come back to some resistance. But that's going to confirm even more so the right shoulder that we have for Bitcoin against the SPY. So a lot going on. Gold had an okay day yesterday as well. We're just waiting for gold to head and shoulders, cup and handle. You know, we've got targets for gold to 2.5K and then 3, depending on what patterns we're looking at. And Bitcoin is uptrending against that. We also think the stock market, everything's going higher. Amazon's been a stock that we've highlighted. And you can see this is progressing. And we were highlighting this sub in the same way that we're highlighting many altcoins are in this similar kind of a pattern, looking for further upside continuation. Guys and girls, that is all I've got for you. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always greatly appreciated. So is a comment. And I hope to see you all in the next YouTube video. If you aren't following me on socials, please do try and follow me on socials, Twitter, etc., etc. If you want to become a Patreon and get my daily thoughts and weekly meetings with me, we've got a meeting tonight, then do check the link in the description. That's all I've got for you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.